Hello everyone, James O'Keefe in front of the infamous Wall of Shame, where Project Veritas exposes journalist malfeasance and abuses, where journalist reputations go to die. Today we have a special retraction, number 318, I believe. 318 retractions about Project Veritas. This one comes from Kat Zakrzewski of the Washington Post. The Washington Post is the GOAT, the Michael Jordan, the Tom Brady of journalistic malfeasance, corrections, and retractions. In fact, my favorite retraction was from last year, page A2, saying our Acorn videos were false, and then they had to retract that assertion. But this is now from the Washington Post. This is their number 8.
Lucky number 8.
It's like Super Bowl rings. Retraction from the Washington Post, and we're going to talk all about it. Okay, so this is a Washington Post article entitled Technology 202 Republicans Poised to Reignite Claims of Political Bias at Big Tech Hearings. Republicans pounce like a tiger. Now, this is an article about a story we did on Facebook. This was a Facebook investigation that we did where an insider came out and talked about the algorithms being biased. There was hidden camera video inside Facebook's subcontractor Cognizant, where the people were on tape talking about labeling MAGA people as terrorists and shadow banning against conservatives, but saying to the public they don't do that. Here's a few of those clips.
Do you think if it was like a pro-Trump whistleblower that they would protect him to the same level? No, right?
I think they're very biased with who they protect.
Yeah, at a certain extent, like the bias. Like you've seen the Twitter shadow banning. So I wonder if you've seen anything at Facebook.
Shadow bans.
Yeah.
Facebook's notorious for it, and they say they don't, but it's clear that people's content don't comes out because it's been defiltered off the queue.
Now, after this comes out, Congressman Matt Gaetz sends a letter to the Attorney General requesting perjury charges against CEO Mark Zuckerberg because he said that Facebook was not biased. Now, all of this happens, and the Washington Post sort of, now we got to cover the Project Veritas videos. They get dragged kicking and screaming, having to report this information. And in this article, Republicans Poised to Reignite Claims of Political Bias, Kat Zakrzewski writes, quote, Trump and other Republicans created by Project Veritas, a right-wing organization that targets reporters that it deems left-leaning. The organization is known for releasing highly edited videos, sort of like the editing in this article, that are widely criticized as being inaccurate. The footage has not been substantiated by the Post or other major news outlets. Sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The footage has not been substantiated. Now, what does Project Veritas do? We actually go about the business of substantiating it. You know, we do a thing, that investigative journalism thingy, where you pick up the phone and call people. We called Leslie Brown and we texted her when she did not return our calls, and she returned our text message. And she says, quote, I have now been fired from my temp agency because of this video. You can see the text message right there. So it was Leslie Brown doing all the substantiation. So you've got Leslie Brown terminated from her agency for saying we don't have the white man's back anymore. You have a response from Facebook corporate saying, quote, comments included in this video are not consistent with our policy.
This is Heather King. With regards to the question related to Project Veritas report, first off, our reviewers work hard to keep our platform safe for billions of users every day. The reviewers' decisions are regularly evaluated to ensure our policies are applied fairly and accurately. We do not promote political viewpoints of any stripe, and the comments included in this video are not consistent with our policies. We will be reviewing our training and oversight to make sure these decisions are made consistent with our policies, and we're working with our partners to make sure that they're appropriately and properly following our policies and communities.
You have a statement from the CEO of Facebook under oath in a hearing talking about what he will do. You have a letter to the Attorney General of the United States from a sitting United States congressman. And the Washington Post writes, quote, the footage has not been substantiated by the Post. This is like Orwell and Kafka combined. It's just outrageous. What would it take to substantiate the footage, if not all of the things I just mentioned? What does constitute substantiation in your mind? Democracy dies in darkness? Well, what is it when you turn out the lights? So this is the 8th retraction. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due, because Kat, you didn't do a very good job here. You lied through omission. You used obfuscation, and it's not appropriate. And I call you out because you do it with this, you must do it with everything else. Highly edited videos. Please name the edit. Please tell me where we actually do the editing. If you can't, don't use that phrase, because what is this if not selective editing? When you don't include in your article the fact that Leslie Brown was terminated, what are you doing if not engaged in obfuscation and selective editing for your own? Don't you think it's relevant that the woman was terminated for what she said? If you don't think that's relevant, please oblige us and tell us why that is not relevant. So, we framed the retraction here. It was updated to include a statement from us. Project Veritas CEO James O'Keefe said not a single one of our videos has been proven to be deceptively edited or taken out of context. And we thank Marty Barron, the executive editor of the Post, who still has some serious cred as an old school journalist. He won that Pulitzer Prize for the Boston Globe Spotlight investigation, and he made sure that a correction was made. This is the 8th correction, the GOAT. The 8th correction. Now, we don't have a GOAT mascot to give to the Washington Post, but we do have a Retracto plushie. And we are going to be sending it to Kat with a signed card from the Project Veritas staff. And listen, we do appreciate Marty Barron here, but we encourage Marty Barron to sit down with his reporters and really talk to them. Because if you look at the facts of this, this is outrageous. What would it take to substantiate? If a CEO of Facebook, a letter to the Department of Justice, a person being terminated, her text message to us, and the people's lips moving on videotape is not enough, then what is? I got one more thing to say to Kat about this article. I'm standing in front of the gold encrusted correction from a couple years ago by Fari, where he headlined it, "What the latest James O'Keefe video leaves out," and then made a correction that in fact we didn't leave the thing out that he claimed we did that justified the headline. And the quote is not "democracy dies in darkness." The quote is that it's not a victimless crime when the victim is the truth. This is the 8th time the Washington Post has had to update their article because of what we do. And I'm sure there'll be a 9th and a 10th and the 11th. And most people don't have the resources, the bandwidth, the ability to hold all these journalists accountable. If we can't trust our fourth estate to tell us what's going on or inform us, then what do you think is going to happen, Kat? People are going to leave your website and stop reading your articles, and they're going to come to Project Veritas to find out what's actually going on. That's the vision here. That's what's going to happen. So you might think it's in your self-interest to say this stuff about us. You're actually hurting your cause. It's against your own self-interest. Do your jobs, tell the truth. And all this can be avoided if you just stuck to the facts.